The Mystic Fox, a magical truth fanatic, here to share my experiences with you. So today, I am going to be revealing very nuanced concepts that y'all may or may not have heard before. If you have, then what I'm going to be breaking down is going to be very helpful. If you have not heard what I'm about to be talking about, then I'm going to want to direct you to two channels. First of all, from the ground level up, you need to understand what it's all about. So at that point, I would direct you to Dr. Doctah, the letter B, Sirius, Sirus, like the star. And if you already are accustomed with nuanced things happening on Earth level that aren't really publicly being talked about yet, and you need to understand more celestial reasons as to why this is happening, I'll direct you to the channel Universal Mastery. Anyway, let's get into it. So, we're going to start by breaking down the polarities. False light polarity, what is it? So, religiously, anyway, false light polarity is usually something that is organized, that in a sense grabs hold of the soul and keeps it docile. Now, the negative polarity, on the surface, people say it's service to self. On more deeper levels, it is claimed that the negative polarity is to create a catalyst to help humanity evolve further. On a celestial level, the negative polarity is the roots of ascension. If you look at ascension like a tree, the negative polarity is the roots itself. And when speaking of celestial densities, the negative polarity only has 6 densities. The positive polarity has up to 11. Now, when talking about the transmigration of souls, it's like this. If you were a soul going through evolution right now through various lifetimes, ideally you would begin negative. And each lifetime, each incarnation, you would densify into the 6th polarity, meaning, in all reality, this means that you have nothing left to teach yourself. What this means is if you woke up and actualized this aspect, if you woke up and actualized yourself as a 6th density negative polarity spirit, you would realize, I am a god, I am deified, I have taught myself everything that I need to know as a king of the self. Now I need to help the other gods. Now I need to help the other beings in creation, out there in the omniverse, out there with every other life form that is a developing universe. Now it is time to help them, right? Now, notice how I wasn't talking about on Earth. So, parasites. Fact, 70% of the world or more is infested with parasites. Now, what do I mean by parasites? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And yet, on an electromagnetic level, that which can energetically affect you will eventually affect you in all other regions of your experience. Now, this goes into the real agenda of the negative polarity. When you go into the negative polarity and you obtain what's called the reverse torsion vortex, you are effectively, energetically, becoming a black hole. You consume all energy around you and you are constantly recycling it. This is bad for parasites because parasites can only attach themselves energetically to right torsions. Energies that are constantly projecting. And energy that is constantly projecting is energy that you can feed off of. So when you have the reverse torsion vortex, parasites can no longer attach themselves to your body energetically. And if they can't attach themselves to you energetically, then as a negative polarity vampire, you can literally vampirize the electromagnetic life forces of anything that tries to inhabit itself in you physically, mentally, and emotionally. Right? Now, to all of the people who are infested with parasites and not aware of it, right? Because what are you? A human being. You are an amalgamation of billions upon billions upon billions of life forms that exist within you. And if you look at each individual one of those cells on a submicroscopic level, you would eventually see that within each one of those cells is a living universe. No bullshit. You look far enough under a microscope, you will eventually see constellations and everything, and this is medical information they're trying to keep from you. Now, when parasites take hold of people, they mask their perceptions. Let me break down something that happens behind the scene at certain farms so you get an idea. We're going to break down the nature of toxoplasmic parasites now. Toxoplasmic parasites are usually born in the gut biome of a cat. What's interesting about this is that most of the meats that we consume here in America, cows, chickens, they are kept in conditions to where there are toxoplasmic parasites within the waste that they keep these animals inhabited around. And long story short, these animals that are susceptible to these conditions where they're being exposed to parasites, and then they get killed, and then you eat them, and then you ingest the toxoplasmic parasites. Now what this does is it puts a film over your perception, not your eyes, not your ability to think, over your perception. And it keeps you very docile. It keeps you very, it keeps you from thinking for yourself, basically, right? So, now going back to the negative polarity causing catalyst for people. When you understand that the world is infested with parasites to this level, and you initiate into the negative polarity and become a vampire, now you can see what's really going on here. Now you can see what the war on consciousness actually is. Let's not forget that parasites are alive. They're conscious and they're sentient just like we are. They may not communicate the same way we do, but they are alive. And now you kind of understand what the war on consciousness actually is. When a black magician, sends a curse or energy or feeds off of a person with positive polarity, they're not actually feeding off a person. They're feeding off of an infestation that has taken hold of that person. So now, think of it like this. If every person on this planet were to suddenly initiate into the negative polarity, and everybody starts to master themselves, right? Then every soul on this planet that's turned into a black hole is a new soul that a parasite cannot inhabit, which is humanity's way of taking back control. And then we can all focus on the higher problems. Anyway, that is my breakdown for today. I hope it was very helpful. If you enjoyed this video, do make sure to go check out Dr. Be Serious and Universal Mastery for more information on astral parasites and subconscious mind control. Much love. See you soon.